In this video, I'm going to be supercharging my OpenClaw agents with the newly released Gemini 3.1 Pro. I was able to work with this model for about 4 hours already before I even made this video, and I am absolutely blown away by how good Gemini 3.1 Pro is, and I'm excited to integrate this new model with my OpenClaw agents because previously I was using Gemini 3 Pro, and the jump from Gemini 3 Pro to Gemini 3.1 Pro is huge. If you look at the ARC AGI benchmark, look at this, 31.1% to 77.1% on ARC AGI 2. That is a benchmark related to abstract reasoning puzzles. So that is a good benchmark to look to at raw intelligence. Also, humanities last exam, this is academic reasoning, same thing. Huge jump in improvement from Gemini 3 Pro to Gemini 3.1 Pro. And what you're going to see also is that Gemini 3.1 Pro outperforms Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.2 in a lot of these areas as well. So one thing I want to highlight is I was not expecting the model to be this good. So when we got Gemini 3.1 Pro and I started using it, I immediately can tell when a model is good, and I will say this model is good. Now, there's only one way that we're going to put that to the test in this video, and I want to show you guys the current state of my OpenClaw setup. So you can see that I have Dario, Elon, and Sam, who are all configured in my Mac Minis, and you can see here that I now have OpenClaw configured with Gemini 3.1 Pro in this OpenClaw bot. So you can see Sam is currently using Gemini 3.1 Pro preview. And something I want to show you guys is what I actually created earlier today while on stream for my series of vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. Check what I created with Gemini 3.1 Pro. Watch this video. All right, so that's what I created. That is what I created on stream today. And in order to create this, I actually had to work for quite a bit with Claude Code, and then I had to use Suno, and it took me about maybe like 30 minutes to create that video. And there was a lot of hands-on stuff that I had to do. For example, I had to create that, and then I had to go into iMovie, and I had to actually create that soundtrack and then upload it. You can see here that I had to upload this and create the video and then put the soundtrack behind it. And what I want to see is I want to test OpenClaw with Gemini 3.1 by making it so that Sam is able to use Gemini 3.1 Pro to orchestrate the creation of a complete marketing video using a combination of Remotion and then the MiniMax API to be able to create the marketing video and then automatically be able to integrate with the MiniMax API to be able to add that audio overlay. And then in the future, rather than me having to have any manual integration where I have to use, let's say, Remotion and prompt it multiple times and then use iMovie to then create a soundtrack over in Suno and then download it and upload it via iMovie and then download iMovie and then upload that to X, I want to see if I can completely automate this process using my OpenClaw bot, using Sam, who is configured with the newly released Gemini 3.1 Pro. In order to prompt Sam, it's going to be very simple. I'm going to be using a speech-to-text tool called BridgeVoice, which is one of the products in the vibe coding suite that we offer in our BridgeMind Pro plan. So I'm going to be using BridgeVoice to streamline my consciousness and tell Sam exactly what I want him to do. So you guys can listen to my prompt now. I want you to build out Remotion and MiniMax API together so that we are able to create videos that are marketing videos for BridgeMind. And these videos will need to be 30 seconds long with upbeat tech music that is instrumental behind each video. So you can see that the transcription time is essentially perfect. So the first one is going to be for Bridge Code. Number 2 is going to be for Bridge MCP. Number 3 is going to be for Bridge Space, and number 4 is going to be for BridgeVoice. So each video needs to be 30 seconds long. and you are going to need to build out the system and build out the functionality so that MiniMax and Remotion are able to work together to create these marketing videos. I want you to use the Gemini CLI and launch as many Gemini CLI instances to be able to do this for you. So if that's going to be the first step, what we're going to do next after that will come, but let's just submit this prompt and we'll let it build. In order to learn more about each of these products, you can go to the BridgeMind.ai website and check out each product page accordingly to learn everything that you need to know. And I'm just going to drop in, BridgeMind.ai website. So perfect. So I'm going to send this off and we'll see what Sam comes back with. You can see he kind of like says, hey, I saw it, but let's see what he comes back with. Give him some time to respond, but he's going to build this out for us. Okay, so Sam just responded very quickly. So you can see I sent that at 4:40, and at 4:41, he came back to me. So he said, here's my plan to build the automated video and music generation system for the 4 products. So it says we will build a custom Node.js pipeline that orchestrates the entire process. There's going to be a music generation module, a Remotion video templates module, the orchestrator, which that's very interesting. And then there's going to be, it says based on the, think about this, in under a minute, it was able to go to the website, and you can even see that it picked up on the color scheme of each of these products. In less than 60 seconds, it went to the website, learned everything there needed to be known about each product, and then created a plan for the system that we're going to build out. So you can see this here. We're kind of going to just let Sam run with it, and we're just going to have him build this out. So I'm just literally going to at him, and I'm going to say, okay, execute the plan. And that's all I'm going to say, execute the plan. And again, BridgeVoice is included in the BridgeMind Pro plan. You can get it for 50% off for your first 3 months today for only $10 a month. And what's also included in that plan is the BridgeMind MCP, BridgeSpace, BridgeVoice, and soon to be launched BridgeCode. But let's give Sam some time because he's now going to work on my isolated Mac Mini and be able to create this system for us. Check this out, guys. So in 2 minutes, Sam is already back to us and he says, I have set up the complete system in 2 minutes. The program handles orchestration using Node.js, making the Axios call to MiniMax API to generate 30 seconds of instrumental tech music based on the prompt, then saves it and uses Remotion to bind it all into a generated marketing video for each product. And then here is what that looks like, the location of all of this. And then now it's asking me to give it my MiniMax API key. And one thing that I actually noticed while this was running is, do you guys see this little like reaction here? Based on what Sam is doing, it will change the reaction of what it's doing. So for a second, it changed it to a brain, then it changed it to a computer. And what it's doing is it's saying, hey, right now I'm thinking, right now I'm looking, I've seen it, right now I'm working on the computer. So very interesting that it does this. But with that being said, I'm going to pass in my API key and I'm going to let that work. And then we'll get to testing it just in 1 minute. All right, so just a quick update. I did pass in my API key and Sam came back to me and said, I have updated the EMV file with your MiniMax API key and started the generation process for all 4 videos. So these videos are now being created. So this does take a little bit of time, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes because it takes some time to build these videos. But so far, I am thoroughly impressed by the intelligence, the speed, and the intuition that I'm noticing from Gemini 3.1 in OpenClaw. Compared with Gemini 3 Pro, I think it's faster, and I do notice the intelligence. I mean, so far, this has not made any mistakes. It has been very fast and very spot on and just been very intelligent overall. So this is definitely going to be my go-to model now for OpenClaw. Previously, I was using Gemini 3 Pro, but that model, I was using it because I was using it with my AI Ultra plan with Google, and Gemini models are pretty good, but the issue was mainly with the hallucination rate. And what I see with Gemini 3.1, and you can actually see this on some of the benchmarks, Google was able to significantly decrease their hallucination rate, which means that you're able to rely on the model more. If we go to artificial analysis, what you can see is that on artificial analysis, Gemini 3.1 has a lower hallucination rate than Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.2. So this is now one of the best models to be using with OpenClaw, and it's also very, very affordable. All right, guys, so I had some time to play around with Sam in this new system that we built. There's definitely some tinkering that I want to do to make this better so that the styling of these marketing videos is better, but check out what it did. So basically it created these marketing videos as I asked. I said, you know, hey, generate marketing videos for these products, and it did. So here's some examples. That is very loud. All right, so like this one was very basic, right? So then the next prompt I told it, I said, hey, you know, I want you to make it a little bit more like have basically be unique and show styling and unique components. And then here's what it came up with the second edition. Okay, all right, so one thing I will say is that this is like, I want to highlight a couple key things because this did take a little bit of tinkering even to get it working, but now that it is working, now I do have a pipeline that I'll be able to improve to be able to create marketing videos at scale, right? I can just have this SAM agent be able to create marketing videos for BridgeMind whenever I want. And the styling, I would say, I would give that like a 4 out of 10, honestly, for the styling of those marketing videos. I wasn't super impressed with what it came up with, but I know from what we did earlier on stream today that it is possible to make it just like really, like if I pass in an example of what I want or some screenshots of what I'm looking for, it's going to be able to polish that up. But the key, like the overarching premise that I'm using this to show you guys is that these OpenClaw agents are functioning differently than any other AI system that I've worked with. You're able to work in an isolated environment and work with incredible models like Gemini 3.1 Pro to create marketing videos just by asking this agent. I mean, even with when these agents were building, I was walking around my neighborhood and I was texting my agent from my phone on the Discord app, hey, could you give me an update on the status? Because there was a little bit of an issue with my API key initially. Then once I got that set up, then it produced a video, then it had an error, then I had to fix it. But now it's all working, right? And now all I have to do is basically tell it what I want and tell it what I want it to change and give it basically some feedback of like, hey, I want it to have this, or I want it to do this, or I want it to be unique here and here, right? But the overarching system is now built, and I built it with Gemini 3.1 Pro, and now it's just going to take some tinkering and some polishing, and now this is a pipeline that I can use for marketing videos. So this is going to fit into my workflow to create marketing videos. You know, I posted one of these earlier on X, and it got like 5,000 views. So what you guys are going to see is I'm learning how to use these OpenClaw agents in a meaningful way. Right now, there are way too many influencers and AI influencers that are hyping this up to get views and clicks. And what I want to do is I actually want to integrate it into BridgeMind in a meaningful way. And I want to use the technology because that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love. So that's what we're going to be doing in this series. You're going to see more of me working with this, and something that I did, and I'm going to do a live stream on Saturday where I'm going to be going over this, but I actually wired in to this BridgeMind agents Discord the log streams from AWS and Sentry for the BridgeMind API. And I believe that I can set up Elon to be able to automatically fix Sentry errors and errors that are happening in our API and in our front ends as they occur. So for example, if there's a 400 error, it will be able to ingest that to figure out where it's happening in the code, to fix it, and then deploy it to GitHub without me having any integration. So we're going to see if we can set that up on a live stream this Saturday. But this was just a quick example to show you how you can supercharge your OpenClaw agent with Gemini 3.1 Pro. I will say it's fast, it's intelligent, and I highly recommend that you integrate with it because it's also very affordable. So that's going to be all for this video. If you haven't already liked, subscribed, or joined the Discord, make sure you do so. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the future.